Coming up this week on Kings of the Rings podcast, we are finally, folks, on the Cody Rhodes to WrestleMania. But before we do that, I brought in an old friend named Mance, and he's going to help us break down the passion of Ucey that was the Royal Rumble, and as well as go into a little bit of NXT since they're on the road again for the first time in a little over a year. So sit back, relax, and please, for the love of God, try not to cross Roman Reigns and hit him in the back with a steel chair again. I have a feeling for the third time he'll see it coming. But it's Kings of the Rings podcast, episode number 326, The Passion of Ucey, exclusively on Wrestle Addict Radio, and it starts right now. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kings of the Rings podcast, episode number 326, The Passion of the Ucey. Of course, I am your host, King Ricky Rose. Unfortunately, no Will this week. Will has moved and has worse internet than Kay Murphy on a nice Sunday. So, luckily for everybody involved, Kay was able to recruit an old friend of the show, an old general manager of Wrestle Addict Radio, and dare I say, a gift to podcasters everywhere. A true delight of delight. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mance Chappell. Mr. Delight, if you're nasty. Mance, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's been a while since I've even done a podcast. It's been almost 18 months. So I'm getting my chops back here.
Yeah, you'll get it soon enough. And of course, for the final time on this show, we are going to have, for final full time on this show, we have Mix Murphy, the K Murphy. Kay, how are you feeling on this bittersweet day?
Hi, everybody. Bittersweet is definitely 1,000,000% the right word to describe this. My they them pussy is gonna miss this show, but I think we have so many great things to talk about that you guys might need a break from me after this week. Roman Reigns had handcuffs. Y'all gonna need a break from me after this one.
Oh my God, it's really bad when I saw the handcuffs and pulled out. I was like, oh God, I hope Kay's not watching.
Oh, I watched.
I bet you did.
We'll get into it.
Yeah. So before we get,
I have a lot to say about the Rumble.
Yeah, I bet you do. And before we get into that,
I have news.
You have news already, Kay?
No, I have notes.
Oh, you have notes. Okay, all right. Notes are good. Well, save your notes for a little bit of time. Ironically, folks, as long as we've known Mance personally as a member of Wrestle Addict Radio and even beyond that, this is Mance's first time on Kings of the Rings podcast, and so I'm happy to...
No.
Wait,
that's not true.
Wait. Oh, you're talking about when you chimed in for like 100 or something like that?
Nope, sure not. But I think we should save that for just a second when we play a little game, because it makes sense.
Okay, all right. So we are going to play a little game, and since this is the beginning of the Friends of a Show era, ladies and gentlemen, I am very happy to announce that Mance is going to play for the first time ever, since he's ever been on the show, the first guest game, and we're going to start it just like... So, Kay Murphy, take it away.
Alrighty. So, even though Mance has apparently been on the show before, Mance has not been in the
News
show during the HBIC era. So, on the show, were you not? Wasn't Ricky on the show when you did it, Mance?
He was. So, WrestleMania weekend.
That show.
It was Saturday. I got there on Friday night, and I somehow, mainly because the Enterprise place screwed up my rental car, ended up with a minivan that weekend. Did. I ended up with the party van for that weekend, and at that time, I wasn't drinking. So on Saturday morning, after I met Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was awesome, I ended up hauling Ant's hungover ass around New Orleans all day.
Yes, you did.
And one of the stops was the Kings of the Rings WrestleMania prediction show. Ant was going to be on it. I wasn't going to be on it. And then I ended up on it. and I have been on the show before, and the rest is history.
Yeah, but that show wasn't recorded in Lore. That was a live stream, so that doesn't really count in my book. Just saying. But I get it. You were there. Mance was, and I do remember this now. This is back when, you know, I had money and lived with my parents, hence I had money. And we were balling out. We had a 2-floor, essentially loft apartment that myself, Will, and Dave were staying in at the time.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I was staying in a hostel.
Yeah, I was not.
I had no money.
I was not. So what we ended up trying to do is I had this idea. It's like, let's bring all these people together to do a live from New Orleans. So I hit up Ant. Ant was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Because we had just met Ant at the Royal Rumble earlier that year. And we were trying to get Antisocial Kim, who literally was true to the name of being antisocial and didn't go on the show.
She just wouldn't go on the show.
And we also wanted to get Issa, but Issa actually missed that WrestleMania because Issa got sick. Issa, aka NYC Demon Diva, so Issa was never appeared on the show for that instance. Issa has been on one of our shows before, the Evolution pay-per-view event. She was part of that month that we had all female wrestling podcasters on, and so Mance substituted in. And it was a great time. Half of us were hungover, but we did it.
I wasn't, but you know,
the rest of us were.
That was a good time.
I think for Mania 40, we should do a live show in Philly.
Potentially.
I already talked to Dylan because Dylan lived in Philly for like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like they already like we should include them in like the planning process because they'll know where to stay and where not to stay.
I was just gonna say in the neighborhood. To be honest with you, I love that place.
The neighborhood would be fun.
Yeah. But we'll see. All right. K Murphy, next question.
All right. So I actually didn't ask any questions, but so our first question: what got you into wrestling? Like, when did you start watching? What sparked your interest?
Started watching, to the best of my knowledge, the Monday Nitro before Starrcade 1997, the go-home show to Hogan and Sting.
Wildly specific.
Because my dad called me in the room. And I caught the last 10 minutes of the show, and it was a stare down between Sting and Hogan. And the next time we watched it is when Sting had the title, but they took the title from him. I just remember J.J. Dillon coming up to him and taking the title, and Sting was looking at him like, "You're gutless." And he turned to Hogan, "You're a dead man." I was like, "All right, this is my personality for the rest of time." So we are here. So that's what, 26 years ago now.
Ooh.
Wow. More than 2/3 of my life.
Good.
You want to know what made me feel old today before we get into the next question? Mm-hmm. I'm rewatching that 70s show, and season 1 is 25 years old.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And I don't like how I feel about it.
You shouldn't. Next question.
Next question. How did you find Kings of the Rings podcast?
I drove Ant's hungover ass around all day.
See, we answered that question.
Yeah.
Well,
and we have a pretty epic picture. I will say that is one of my favorite pictures that I've ever taken with people.
5 of us, different world title belts,
different poses.
I like that picture.
Different poses, Kay. Just for you, just a year before I'd even meet you, I have the big gold, and I am doing the Bill Goldberg 2 hands straight up in the air because they handed me that belt, and that's what my brain did.
I love that for you. All righty, Mance, who is your all-time favorite wrestler?
This is a hard question. I can narrow it down to 2. My all-time favorite wrestlers is either Stone Cold Steve Austin or Sting. And every time Sting wrestles, Stone Cold gets a little farther ahead. And it's not that I dislike Sting. I worry that he's going to die. He's going to jump off something, and then the next morning we're going to hear Sting died. It's like, well, yeah, of course Sting died. He fell off a building.
Yeah, he did.
Are you sure it's not Goldberg?
It's not Goldberg.
You sure?
I'm fairly sure.
Stop poking the bear.
All right. Well, hopefully the answer to this question is Goldberg. Who is your current favorite wrestler?
He's not wrestling right now, Kay.
He still exists.
He's not under contract.
He's not under contract. He can't answer Goldberg for that question.
Probably Bryan Danielson. And that's been the same answer for 10 years at this point. However, I'm getting really into Sami Zayn as of the last few months. And I just went back and watched Ladder War from ROH's Man Up. It was Generico and Steen versus the Briscoes. He was great then. He's great now. But Sammy, Bryan Danielson, I love Danhausen, not so much as a wrestler. Just every time he appears, I'm like, oh, that's fun.
I love him. He posted the other day, like he's been posting the fucking picture of him with a guitar, and fucking CM Punk posted that picture with "This Fire Burns." I was just like, this is rude. This hurts me.
I saw one today. Sami Zayn posted a picture of him throwing out all his Ucey gear, a lot of pictures and frames and whatnot. And Danhausen retweeted it and said, Danhausen will be searching your garbage for new wall art. Perfect. That's what I want.
Very nice.
Alrighty. Mance, if you were a wrestler, what would your finisher be?
I like submission holds. So as much as my gut says, oh, you go with the Stone Cold Stunner, I think for the actual proper finisher, I'm probably going to use the Scorpion Deathlock or the Half Nelson Chicken Wing. And it's something I've always, in college, the wrestling friends that I made, we would just attack each other. And if I got the chance, I would always like somebody in that Half Nelson Chicken Wing. And it's a weirdly specific one, but I think it's be the one I grabbed every time.
Gotcha.
I think that's great.
Question for you, man.
Right,
Question before we continue. All right.
Okay.
You specifically said Scorpion Deathlock. You didn't.
Yes, I sure did.
You did not say Sharpshooter. Why is that?
You're correct. Well, as I mentioned, Sting. But if you look back at the timeline, the Scorpion Deathlock came before the Sharpshooter. Ooh. It's the name of the move.
Ooh, that is going to be an interesting discussion that we don't have time for today. But I'm going to have to look into that.
You go right ahead. I'm fairly certain I'm right, but I'm fairly certain I'm right about most things, and half the time, See, right there.
We'll see. Ricky Choshu did the Sharpshooter first, but
see, I might be wrong.
WrestleMania seems in Canadian. Very nice, friends.
Friends, just so as long as you're seething, I want to repeat this. Sean is better than Brett. Let's move on.
All right.
Continue.
Nancy, this might be the most important question I've ever asked you in our entire friendship. So I want you to think
this is going to be a big one then.
Yes, it is.
And hard about this answer.
You better.
And I need you to think with your gut. Just use instinct. Don't think about it.
Use your heart, not your head.
Are you team Slack or are you team fuck you Slack?
Well, the answer to this actually came to me today, as coincidence would have it. I was on the Twitter again. That's where I spend half my time. It's a horrible place.
Yes, it is.
But I believe Slack said something along the lines of WWE shouldn't have planned so far ahead with the Uso storyline because now they have this hot match that they can't use, and so that's wrong. I want long-term story planning, and that's great. Have they dropped the ball? Maybe. But in all honesty, it just ends up with me having to be on team fuck you.
Yes! Yes! Yes. That is the only correct answer, by the way. Don't listen to Will, whatever he's told you.
Just told me nothing.
Good. Very, very good.
I stopped listening to Will when he lost me the rate with Aunt Gala 4 years ago.
I think Will's internet went out, so we could get the correct answer to Team Fuck You Slack.
Also, just so everybody's aware, Will's fun fact is that he's still not invited to the cookout. Anywho, moving on. With that, thank you for playing the first guest game, Mance, on an official show that you are now on. But let's move on to some other things happening in the world of wrestling. For instance, 24 hours after our last show, WWE released their name, image, and likeness class, the NIL class, where they are actively recruiting college athletes to learn about WWE, their social media marketing skills, and potentially recruit them to be on-screen talent somewhere down the future. This is the third year that this is happening. Gable Stevenson is part of the NIL class, and a couple of other people, a lot of prominent people on in NXT these days are coming from the NIL class, or they're working their way up the ranks. And rather than us kind of telling you about this NIL class, I figured it was better if we just show you who they are. Because we're going to pull up a video for the first time ever and give you guys an actual first look at this year's NIL class for WWE. So here we go. We're going to put this up right now. And there it is. Go full screen and listen in. You guys on the show might not be able to hear, but you'll hear it on the playback. But it is going to be closed captions so you guys can read it too. So, anywho, here we go.
We got next, we ready to flex, we're ready to rock, headed to the top, we got next.
Introducing members of WWE Next in Line, Class 3. A 6'5", 230-pound running back for the Kentucky Wildcats, D. Beckwith. 6'2", 290-pound junior defensive end from Rutgers University, Isaiah Aiton. Two-time Horizon League Conference champion, Youngstown State basketball star, Maddie Olbach. A redshirt senior softball star for the Georgia Bulldogs, Jaden Fields. Standing 6'8" and 320 pounds, redshirt junior offensive lineman for the Cincinnati Bearcats, Cameron Jones.
Get one.
Two-time NCAA All-American heavyweight wrestler, Penn State Nittany Lion, Greg Kirkley. A 6'7", 275-pound sophomore defensive end from the University of Arkansas, Landon Jackson. Four-time indoor and outdoor all Big 12 sprinter from Oklahoma State University, Tori Ortiz. A senior tennis star at Mary Washington University, Alexandra Jaksic. A six-time Portuguese national champion, sophomore thrower at the University of Pittsburgh, Otanil Badjana. A 6'4", 315-pound offensive lineman for the Penn State Nittany Lions, Nick Dawkins.
Yeah.
A graduate student soccer star at the University of South Alabama, Abby Jacobs. Two-time NAIA national champion wrestler from Life University, Peyton Prussian. A six-time NCAA All-American and four-time NCAA national champion thrower from Arizona State University, Turner Washington.
Are you six-time All-American?
Two-time NCAA All-American hurdler for the LSU Tigers, Aaliyah Armstrong. Introducing members of WWE Next in Line, Class 3.
So yeah, folks, that is the Next in Line participants. Mance, what are your first thoughts on that?
There's some potential there. Otanil Badjana, the Portuguese national champion.
Yeah.
He's got that look. He's got that size. I think he's got a great chance there. Only one of those names that I've actually recognized, and that's D. Beckwith. He was a player for the University of Kentucky football team.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky's a basketball school.
Yes, it is.
But the last couple of years, the team has been less than terrible.
Don't remind me.
And he's been a part of that team. If he can transition that well into wrestling, go for it. I can't speak to him personally as a player, though.
Very true. K. Murphy, what are your thoughts on this NIL class?
So I don't know shit about college sports, so I can't speak to how good any of them are. But based on like their look and marketability, I feel like a lot of them have what WWE is going for.
Mm-hmm. They are.
So
listen, overall,
got a lot of pretty folks.
Yeah, overall, NIL is going to be good for these athletes and for these people as human beings. They're going to get a one-up, from one of the best marketing companies in the world. It's just known as World Wrestling Entertainment. They know how to market themselves. If you don't believe me, look at all of their followings on social media. It's absolutely absurd. And WWE's not just recruiting any old athletes, they're recruiting successful athletes. Okay, they're recruiting successful athletes. In a lot of their classes, they're recruiting a lot of female athletes which is something that I've noticed. And they're recruiting a fair amount of people of color as well. They are really diversifying their pool. And the cool thing about athletes, not the cool thing, but the reason I think they're choosing a lot of these athletes that are successful athletes as well. If you look at WWE's way of how they train people, they want to find people that are naturally athletic, which most of these people are, and that know how to take commands. You know, they're already used to being coached. And what WWE looks for when they're recruiting people, because a lot of their coaches have said it, they have to be coachable.
By grabbing them at this stage and building them as wrestlers from the ground up, they eliminate, let's not call it a bad thing, but that indiness.
Yes.
That,
Yeah.
they build WWE superstars. They may not build indie darlings. They may not build, Tokyo Dome wrestlers, but they're going to build what they want, and that's great for those those wrestlers as long as they stay in that system. The chances that all of them are going to stay in that system, but those that do will have the skills they need to go forward. There's a lot of kids in that. I call them kids. They're younger than I am. There's a lot of kids in that NXT program right now who are just getting on TV. They're college athletes, but they're doing exactly what WWE wants, and they're going to be great. Now, that could change on a dime what WWE wants, but right now they're in good shape.
Yeah, I think they're in a very good place with it as well. And also, like, you have WWE as like your partner. Like, I recently read an article about the Carpenter twins, like these social media darlings that play basketball for the University of Miami. They're they are part of the NIL program. I think they're Class 2. They were part of an exclusive SummerSlam party where they ran into all the different superstars, all the they exchanged numbers with Liv Morgan. I think the Bella Twins were there.
Wow.
Dwight Howard was there as well, which is pretty crazy. So it's not like, they're like, just mooching off of like, oh, I'm part of a WWE brand. WWE is actually taking care of these individuals. And what they're also doing is kind of planting that seed in their head of like, hey, look, we just filled out a football stadium. Do you want to do this in the future too?
That's very
Here's
true.
a bunch of celebrities that are just like you. It's very clever. But I do like it. I like the diversity of the diversity of the classes, and we'll see where these people go from here. But that's the NIL class this year for WWE, because they also have been actively going to campuses and recruiting, because that's what Big E was doing since he's been out with the neck injury as well. But moving forward, let's go back to, again, last Saturday, the Royal Rumble.
Oof.
What an event. What an event. I mean, there have been Royal Rumbles that was a great Royal Rumble, but just the Royal Rumble hit a bunch of its marks. There's some things that were misses, like 2 matches in between, but the main stories were fantastic, and it showed. First and foremost, the Royal Rumble this year was a huge history-making Rumble. Here are some of the facts that WWE posted. It was the largest audience in the Royal Rumble history at 54,000 people plus.
That's surprising.
It's not. The Royal Rumble is usually not a stadium event. It just became a stadium event in the last couple of years. It broke the all-time gate record for the Rumble with a record $7.7+ million. That's before the show even started. Okay.
Huge.
Yeah. The sponsorship revenue was up nearly 200% versus the record that was set the last year in 2022. So you have gate money, you have sponsorship revenue that was blasted up 200%. They've made tons already. Merchandise sales were up 135% versus the record that was set the previous year. And last but not least, speaking of marketing, their social media was 200+ video views across all platforms of videos related to this year's Royal Rumble. Absolutely absurd.
It is ridiculous how well this one did if you look back to a year ago.
Yeah.
I was in the building last year for Royal Rumble. It was in the building. It was fun, but that building was not full. There were rows at the top. I mean, not just 1 or 2. There were rows empty. They didn't sell out the arena there in St. Louis. They the feel is bigger. The people were more excited. They were telling stories that made sense. And those views that are, I mean, because look at the end of Roman's match this year versus the end of Roman's match last year.
Yeah.
He cheated to beat Seth last year. He killed 2 men this year, essentially. Brock Lesnar did not win the Royal Rumble this year.
Yeah.
People want to see that. They actually set great stuff up for Mania, which they did not. They're what a difference a year makes.
No, literally.
I had low expectations for this show based off last year's show, which I should not have. I'm not. You know, aside from the pitch black match, I got pretty much everything I wanted, and they're gonna. If they will roll like this all the way through till April, it's gonna be a good quarter for the WWE.
Listen, they're off to a hot start, and I thought we were going to kick off this Royal Rumble recap talking about the Royal Rumble matches, but then we witnessed a murder during the main event. Folks, there was a match between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens for the Undisputed Universal World Heavyweight Championship, whatever. It's a match. It happened. Like, that's all I can tell you. It's a match. It happened. There was one really vicious spot, which I'm like, KO, why are you doing this to yourself? Whatever. It was just foreshadowing of things to come. And what came after that was one of the most vicious beatdowns I have ever seen a wrestler take in front of a live audience. For me, I will say this for me, I felt, and it's nothing that WWE's fault did, it was just coincidence and really a little bit triggering based on real life events of someone getting beat down and that being televised, like the day prior. But I also realized that, like, there is nothing WWE could do about that, and they weren't going to scrap it. So it was a little bit triggering because I was like, oh, this is dragging. I was like, oh, this is uncomfortable. But I realized what it was uncomfortable for. And then the unthinkable happened. Sami Zayn saved Kevin at the last minute in a very Shield-esque betrayal of Roman. He even fell the same way.
I would say Roman took the exact same posture as he falls to the ground. I mean, it because he hit him and he fell. I was like, Roman knows this spot so well, and your thought is, okay, now Sami's got 2 choices. He can hit everybody else in the ring with the chair, or he can take the beating that's coming, and the beating came. I want to point out, Roman had just wrestled a 20-minute match and shook off that chair shot in 90 seconds. They've made this man into a monster. And before we go into that, I don't want to make light of the match. Roman and Kevin Owens have a great match every time they come together. That's not what this was about. This was about the post-show. I don't remember anything that happened in the match except for Sami saying, you told me not to do anything. Do you really want a chair? And he really wanted a chair. But we get this beatdown, and Sami, he hits Roman, and you just wait for it. And Jimmy and Solo jump on him, and Roman gets up. And then there's this beautiful moment that I realized Jay hasn't thrown a punch. And that's storytelling, because Jay's the one who didn't believe in Sami. And Sami did everything in his power. He got Jay to believe in him. Jay Uso saw Sami Zayn as an Uso. You hear Jimmy yelling, that's your brother? I'm your brother. And Jay can't bring himself. He cannot bring himself to hit Sami. And Jay, who, if you think all the way back to the start of this, that Hell in a Cell match against Roman, he wasn't on board for the Tribal Chief at the beginning. He got on board, but it's always been tentative. He was kind of disagreeing with Roman about Sami. He finally got on board there, and then when the time came, he's not going to follow this man. Or
well,
so
I mean,
seems at this point.
Do you fucking blame him for not trusting when Jay knew the bloodline was fucked from the beginning and he only pretty much fell in line to avoid getting his fucking ass beat? Sami Zayn comes in and is on board with all the fucked up shit Roman is doing from the jump. So I don't blame Jay for feeling distrustful of Sami. Like, how could you in good conscience go along with somebody that does these fucked up things.
That's very true. And it also, I see Jay seeing Roman turning on Sammy, who just weeks before he trusted. Now he's leaving him in a pile, and Jay's got to be thinking, what would he do to me? And so Jay's out. He's officially resigned from the bloodline, I think.
Yes, well, we'll get to that. He was scripted, but I do want to answer both of your points as the somewhat low key resident mental health worker in here. We always talking about a lot of pundits talk about wrestling psychology. This is not wrestling. This is full on a psychological study of trauma, not any specific trauma, of family trauma. Okay, this is a family trauma story that is unfolding in front of you. I've had secondhand observations of family trauma and what it can do to an individual. Jay fell in line because he needed to do that to survive, and deep down inside, he wants the recognition of his family, but also deep down inside, he knows what's going on is fucked up, and there's no way out of it. You know, and what Jay is witnessing in this moment is he is deeply conflicted on what to do. Sami Zayn gained the trust and the adoration of Jay through his loyalty to the family, although the family is fucked up. But now Sami just betrayed the family, but Jay is also now really close to Sami. So what do? Do you go with your friend who you've learned to love, or do you stay with your family, who you know is going to continually abuse you if you never fall in line? It's brilliant. It's sad. It's very sad because, like I said, I've seen secondhand observations of this happening to people that I deeply care about. And you gotta kind of feel for Jay. And as Mr. Fred said in the chat, Jay might be the actual protagonist here out of the entire storyline.
He definitely was at the beginning.
You know, so it seems to be that he would be the protagonist in the end. And speaking of in the end, Jay the next day did post a tweet of him, and it said, "I'm out," with a little blood drop tear mark.
Womp.
I don't believe it.
I don't
We'll
either.
find out on SmackDown.
I have a theory.
What's your theory, Kay?
So I feel like, because obviously I don't think they're gonna do Roman and Sammy at one night of Mania and Roman and Cody another night.
That is not happening.
I've seen that's stupid. I've seen sorry, I'm getting over a cold. I've seen so much of that conversation on Twitter being like, oh, it's gonna be Roman and Sammy, Roman and Cody. No, we don't need two Roman Reigns main events. That's excessive. Yes, that's exactly what I was coming in to say. I think that KO and Sammy are going to get back together, and I think while Jay is currently not aligned with the bloodline now, I think he's going to cost, assuming they do Roman and Sammy at Elimination Chamber, Jay is costing Sammy that match. And then it'll be probably KO and Sammy versus the Usos for the tag titles at Mania.
I think you might be onto something there. I will say this, and this is a spoiler, but we all know who won the Rumble. Sami Zayn, as great as he has been, is just a supporting character in the bigger story that WWE is planting right now. They made it blatantly obvious, especially on Who Started Off Monday, and the amount of shirts that he has on the shop. My God, he has
There's so many.
He has 5 different designs on the shop, and it started on Saturday. It's absurd. Sami Zayn is a supporting character to the Cody Rhodes storyline. I hate to say it.
Sammy got one new
I hate to say it, but it is. That is the bigger, grander story here. Sami Zayn started the fall of the bloodline, and Cody Rhodes, it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler alert, Cody Rhodes will end the bloodline storyline on WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Sammy began it, Cody is going to finish it, if all goes according to plan, knock on wood. But be that as it may, Sammy's brilliant, man. Sammy's brilliant.
So good. This is Sami Zayn. This is a guy that, a year ago was a conspiracy theorist.
I love conspiracy theorists, Sammy.
He was making that work. I'm not saying that was bad. But then he got brought in as a part-time Uso or a probationary Uso or temporary Uso, and he has made this storyline into something people want to see. And that pop when Sammy hit Roman Reigns, it distorted the microphones in the building. That was so loud. What's the last time that anything was that loud?
Edge.
That was like an Attitude Era pop.
Yeah.
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I'm going to say Edge, but that's just
not
me.
in this company.
Modern day, I would say Edge and Hardy Boy return at Mania.
Yeah,
34.
That was
34.
2 years ago. So it's been 2 years since anything's made that sound. And then if you went to a different company, you've got punks popping up in AEW the first night.
Yeah.
It takes something massive, a return, a re-debut after a decade, or the logical step in your storyline. They can still do this, and they did. And granted, you have to have a Sami Zayn to do it, but they did. And I disagree with you, okay? I until Cody came out and said, I'm challenging for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship, or however they phrase it, I didn't see a way you couldn't do Sammy and Roman one night and Cody and Roman another. But they're not doing it. And unlike some wrestling fans, I'm just going to accept that, and we're going to enjoy the show. But I think they could have done some beautiful stuff. And even if Roman beat Sammy, which was the plan that I had for it, you could have done both matches, and Sammy got his moment. And granted, it's exactly what happened with Cesaro, so it's a repeat of a storyline. But I would have loved to see that match, and Roman continue to be the Universal Champion onwards. If you can wait for the next guy, if it is Rock, it's not Rock. But have Cody take the WWE title, and so you have a champion on Raw that has a belt and can defend it more often. But they're not doing it. They're doing Cody for both belts, for the whole shebang. Okay, let's go for it.
Yeah, I think
maybe if Cody takes both belts, they want to put some. I feel like they might want to put something on Roman quickly. So whenever Roman decides to go in for his, guaranteed rematch, he could win a title back or something.
Here's the thing. I think when Roman does do a job from whoever, we're assuming it's Cody. And I say we're assuming it's Cody. A lot can happen in the next 50-some-odd days into WrestleMania. And some of those things being also the deals to the rights to media contracts at WWE, which plays a role in why the fact that Roman has both belts and on both networks. More so SmackDown than Raw, but still he makes appearances. A lot of that can change the landscape of WWE, as it should, because media. But we are also assuming that Cody's the guy here. I think Cody's the guy.
Or what if, at Elimination Chamber, I could see them doing Sammy versus Roman for the titles,
Which
right?
is unconfirmed, by the way. That is not confirmed just yet.
I know. But let's say Sammy gets the hometown win. It's in Montreal.
That's not going to happen.
It would be
Not a
no. Where Roman can get it back night one of Mania, and then Cody takes whoever wins, aka Roman.
In my opinion, the worst thing you can do right now is hot potato titles.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah, Roman's way too strong, and he's known as the guy with both belts. You do not take that off of him right now. I do say Sammy's going to get... All right, here's the thing. If we thought the Royal Rumble beatdown was bad, can you imagine what Roman might do to him in his hometown in Montreal? This would be heel on another level. I'm talking like the artist formerly known as Sasha Banks stealing a kid's headband during a match, heel level. Okay? Like, you can only rev it up from here.
Yeah.
I got a sneaking suspicion. We got a Canadian hometown hero, a world title match in Montreal. I got something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I could just, and granted, Sammy didn't have a well-known submission hold. I could just see Roman stealing this. I mean, Sammy gives him everything he can, but Roman steals it. Just at the very end.
Yeah.
It feels like a cop-out to do Sammy and Roman early, but you got to do it.
It's Montreal. There's not going to be a
do
bigger pop for Sami than in Montreal.
No. There's the issue. Can Jey Uso or can the Usos come into Canada now? They couldn't before. That's how Sami got into this mess.
Why couldn't they come to Canada again?
Issues.
Oh.
we'll say issues.
Yeah, issues. We'll go with that.
Yeah, there'll be issues. And the last thing I want to say about this was that did anybody notice what happened at the end? Obviously, they were both laid out at the end of this, and Roman started taking the petals off a flower. They looked like carnations. I thought they were roses. Wasn't sure exactly what flower it was on the leg.
He was doing like a he loves me not kind of thing, ripping the petals.
Yeah, but
throwing them onto
they
Sami.
were red. It kind of looked like a crime scene. It looked like I said a crucifixion, because this story that that's showing out here is a passion story.
Passion of the Christ.
It's like Passion of the Christ, kind of. You know, not with all the biblical stuff and the magic, but still,
sure,
there is a total annihilation. I don't mean passion story, but this is a story about, love and somewhat obedience. And for the first time in a while, we got an "F you Roman" chant.
It was fabulous.
We haven't seen that since he wrongfully took out the Undertaker. I was part of that crowd.
Oh, I loved it.
And he couldn't help but I mean, when you have 50,000 people yelling at you, he looked around. And I don't know if you've seen, there's fan footage. McAfee is stunned.
I saw the McAfee footage, yeah.
The volume and the veracity of 50,000 people shouting, "Fuck you, Roman," over and over. And it's just, they've done something here.
Yeah, it almost...
It's the best thing they've done in a while.
For a second, if Sami was a sniveling heel, I mean, he's become a beloved heel, almost on the level of Roman. Roman's a beloved heel for all the crazy stuff he's done. Roman was a beloved heel, but now Roman's a hated heel. This almost became a double turn, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, one of the hardest things to do in wrestling is to switch favoritism of a crowd in an instant. But they almost got it done. They sure as hell switched Roman to being hated again. And it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But let's move on, because I can talk about this all day, and I love this story. This just keeps better and better. Someone should write this down. Whoever is actually writing for this should probably direct the next series of Marvel movies. That's all I'm saying.
Can pay-per-views or like premium live events or whatever, can that be nominated for like an Emmy?
I don't believe so.
Actually, technically, yes.
I don't know.
Because that needs like recognition beyond wrestling.
I mean, I know they submitted
beyond sports, I would say.
So
yeah, it better with an ESPY. I don't know. We'll see. Let's move over to the Men's Rumble. And before the Men's Rumble even started, which kicked off the show, Pat McAfee returned. Which was a crazy thing to start off the show with. But Pat McAfee's living his best life in the past couple of years. And I will say this before you get going, K. Murphy. I love this trio of Cole, Corey, and Pat. I thought they were brilliant.
Honestly, I selfishly was only upset that to commentary because he was on my Instagram. The fucking funniest commentary I think I've ever heard in my life.
Very, very true.
At the Rumble.
Say that again, Kay, because we lost you for a little bit.
I said that Pat McAfee had some of the funniest commentary I think I've ever heard. Like when, like during the low blow, he was like, he got hit in the sack, or I haven't been here in a really long time. What should I say? And then Michael Cole goes, the lower extremities.
I mean, Pat McAfee also got away with saying the cock instead of peacock.
He did say the cock.
The cock.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
He did say the cock, but I will tell you this, Mance. Corey Graves channeled Bobby Heenan for one Royal Rumble, and it was brilliant.
I normally don't like a three-man booth. Ironically, I don't care for that. But when you have that big of a heel announcer and you have that big of a face announcer, that usually drives me crazy. And these three, not so much. And even Michael Cole, who I don't care for. He's amazing at his job, but Michael Cole controlled by Vince is no good. Michael Cole took shots at Vince McMahon all night. If you pay attention, And that gives me hope
Yeah.
that maybe Vince isn't actually here. But these three together, and yeah, that's a great comparison. That is, I mean, it was Heenan and Tenay levels of together and just making each other crazy. And I dig that. Now, give me Tony Schiavone with these guys, we're good to go.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely fantastic. Just great. And here's what I loved. I think they deliberately ribbed Michael Cole and did not tell him Pat was showing up. They
didn't tell either
felt
of them.
like a
so
genuine reaction from Michael Cole.
No, it was confirmed. They didn't tell Corey or Michael Cole that Pat were coming back. It was a genuine surprise.
Well, I will tell you this.
So those were both real
tell you this. Corey Graves stayed in character beautifully then.
Yeah. Michael Cole's completely genuine, and Corey Graves plays an amazing upset heel announcer.
Yeah.
So
it was probably my favorite time I've ever listened to Corey Graves on commentary. He's had some gems, but for some reason, the Royal Rumble night, he was unbelievable. He was on another level. Moving into the men's rumble, it actually wasn't that star-studded with surprises, which shows you the strength of the men's roster, that they didn't bring in many people from outside of the company, because everybody in that men's rumble were already signed superstars, including Logan Paul and Ricochet, who decided to try to kill each other in the middle of the match.
Punk and Kofi did that first.
Yeah, but I hate how good Logan Paul
We all
is
do.
at this.
We all do.
Me too.
Great. He's had, what, 4 matches in his career?
One of them was a main event with Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Okay. You know who else had 4 matches in their wrestling career?
You.
Me. I am not that good. I have never been that good. And I hate that I love to see him do. And it's going to be Seth and Logan. And he eliminated Seth. It's going to be Seth and Logan at Mania. I'm thrilled. It's going to be great. I hate Logan Paul. I hate him.
But he's damn good at what he does. I honestly didn't think he was going to be back this soon, because from what I recalled, after his match with Roman, he pretty much tore his leg up.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was exaggerating.
I guess so.
I really thought the celebrity return was going to be Bad Bunny. So I'm so disappointed.
Just want Bad Bunny every year.
Bunny. Just buy the new 2K game. You can get him as a pre-order bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, listen, Logan Paul, like you said, I can't, like, as a person, whatever, but damn, he's a good entrant. Like, he just gets it. And I hate that he gets it.
Yeah.
So you know,
hate it. But I love it.
Go ahead, Kay.
so you know how on last week's show I predicted, all 60 entrants of the Royal Rumble?
What was your percentage, by the way?
Terrible. I did not get a single thing right for the men, except Cody winning.
What do you mean by like single thing right? Like you didn't get.
When I say correct, I mean the order of the entrants.
Okay.
So in terms of the men, I was incorrect about every single entrant. However, I was off by 1 on Santos Escobar. I was off by 1 for Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio.
Dominic. I hate that kid, but I love him.
I know. I was off by a lot of stuff on the men's. When we get to the women's, I had better luck.
The women's was. I will tell you this right now. The women's Rumble was a more entertaining Rumble.
So much better. Like the men's Rumble was fun. It was good. It was fine. My list was better.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
Like I had Nakamura, Dragon Lee debuted on mine, Bad Bunny was on mine, Jay White debuted on mine.
Jay White debuted on everybody's Rumble prediction. Everybody said Jay White.
Yeah, mine too.
I will say, like, I'm bummed that Cody came in at 30.
I'm bummed they announced he was coming and he came in at 30.
Me too. Like, that's such a fucking waste.
They didn't just announce it. They gave him video packages for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
That's why I put him in at, like, what did I put him in as? I put him in number 2.
2 would have been great. 3 would have been fine. Imagine if we didn't know he was coming. Logan Paul and Ricochet have a car crash in the middle of the air. 3, 2, 1. Everything goes dark. Wrestling heavily. Sami Zayn can go to hell at that point because that's the pop of the night.
Yeah.
No, like they had like, no, Cody's gonna. They're doing the Triple H thing from 2002, where we give him this many packages, so without a shadow of a doubt, he's winning this Rumble.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He has to finish the story, but he started at Mania from last year. Moving on, as we know, Cody did win, but also to note, the first man in the Rumble was the second to last man in the Rumble, and he broke the record. Gunther solidified himself as the ring general, as he says, with a Royal Rumble record, 1 hour and 11 minutes. That shows you how much they trust this man to do anything with anybody.
Yeah, this man here is going to be world champion within the next, from the time Roman loses, within 18 months of that, he'll be the world champion.
And listen, if it's Cody versus Gunther and maybe you do a three match rivalry thing, I'm all for it because they worked beautifully together as the final two. Gunther, by this picture, looks amazing. Like he looks unbelievable. And people are gonna think about this all you want, but Gunther has brought back prestige to the Intercontinental Championship again. It means something that he has it on him. And that
I think he's going to break
dominant.
the record.
Break the record of what? Longest Intercontinental Championship reign?
Yeah, I think so.
He got a while to go to beat Honky.
Yeah, well, that's a most.
I mean, towards the end of my show, and I've been vocal about it ever since, I'm not the biggest WWE watcher anymore.
Sure.
And I've seen Gunther and Imperium, and as he's lost the weight, he's getting into shape. He looks phenomenal, but I've always said, it feels like he lost something when he wasn't the big hulking man I saw nearly kill Pete Dunne in New York.
that wasn't Annihilation.
This man is just as scary. He's an amazing worker, and he's safe enough where Cody was like, yeah, I just had my chest rebuilt. Please hit me as hard as you can, as many times as you can. Fantastic. Yeah. I'd never thought he was going to win, but I started to get hope.
I would have popped really fucking hard if he won the Royal Rumble.
Listen, he has one of the best acts going. And if that didn't scare you about Gunther, watch his Clash of the Castle match with Sheamus.
Oh,
match of the year.
Hands down match of the year.
I kept a list all last year of the best matches of the year. That's my best WWE match for sure. Is those two. It may be second only to FTR and the Briscoes one, but it is so good.
Yeah, so good.
I feel like Gunther shows up on my best of the year a lot.
Well, you like Gunther commands. Obviously, as you know, folks, Cody Rhodes won. He immediately declared to face Roman. This is a great story.
He didn't have an option.
Yeah. This is a great story in and of itself because it's the battle of two royal families, which he made a mention of in his opening Raw promo, which, by the way, masterclass in promo. Cody Rhodes, in one promo, the first promo post Royal Rumble, sold the WrestleMania main event, hook, line, and sinker. Like, I'm sold. I want to see it.
I didn't watch it yet.
It's great.
So good.
I watched Raw, but I tuned in late because I got busy at work. So I turned it on after Cody's promo.
Listen, look at Cody's promo.
So what did he say?
He pretty much said, I'm going to finish what I started. I told you when I first got here, I want that title. I'm going to get that title, the only title that's eluded my family. And he mentioned like how wrestling has more than one royal family. He's like, I respect Roman, I respect this family, but my family's just as good. It's pretty much what he said.
Well,
it's just... I was skeptical. I was skeptical about Cody going back to WWE. I was skeptical about the push. When he had the matches with Rollins, I was like, okay, great. He ran through Rollins. He tore his chest off and still wrestled that amazing match. And when he showed up on Sunday at number 30, or Saturday at number 30, I was like, okay, you're coming in number 30. Maybe you're not as ready as you think. And then he had the last segment with Gunther. He cut this promo. He had a match with Finn. I'm all on board. Cody, all the way to Mania. Let's do it. It's so good.
Like I said, if you're not on board, just look at the WWE shop. He has 5 new shirts out in less than a week. They're all
And
really
they're
good
ugly.
too. No, stop it. They are good. I don't care.
I think they're I'm sorry. Cody's aesthetic is fucking ugly to me.
Whatever. I will say he has a great tagline. It's what is it? Undeniable.
No more.
There's two
Or
more.
undeniable. What? I can't remember what it was.
Whatever.
It's probably not good. We can't remember his catchphrase.
Yeah. But no, it's yeah, whatever. We'll figure it out. But let's move on.
Undesirable something.
Undeniable, undesirable, uncrowned. That's what it is. Undeniable, undesirable, uncrowned. It's perfect. It tells you everything you need to know.
Except they can't sell that shirt after Mania.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. It's when the Hollywood story comes to an end in Hollywood. But let's move on to Here Come the Women, the Women's Royal Rumble, which I thought was the more entertaining match, and a lot more surprises here. First surprise off being the NXT Women's Champion, Roxanne Perez, who is from the state of Texas, put on a show really quickly.
She looked great.
She's only 21 years old. She's a tiny little thing. Booker T's protege. Oh, yeah, Booker T did show up at the Men's Rumble, which is really funny.
I'd love Booker T.
Yeah.
Anybody that shows up that was one of my dad's favorites, I'm going to pop big for it. And that was Booker T. So there we go.
Yeah, I mean...
Shucky Ducky Quack Quack.
Shucky Ducky Quack Quack. Roxanne is a protege of Booker T. She put on a show. I mean, I was skeptical because I've been following her a little bit on NXT. I've been skeptical of her getting pushed so heavily, but there's a reason she was the first ever Ring of Honor Women's Champion. Mm-hmm. This girl can go. And
I wanted to see more.
Yeah, she wasn't afraid of the spotlight either.
I hated that she was in there for, 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes?
That's fine.
she was in there and did some great stuff.
Yeah.
She could afford to be taken out early.
Yeah, but she could have also afforded to be the one to take out BFAB.
She could have afforded one to take out BFAB, which I was surprised BFAB was in, but I was like, they got to give her experience.
Me
somehow.
too.
You know,
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know who BFAB was.
it's fine.
Okay. All right, as long as it's fine.
It's fine. I do love me some Hit Row. It's all about Top Dollar, although he did have one of the greatest botches I've ever seen in wrestling history. I don't know if you've seen. I don't know if you've seen that, Mance, but I'll send it to you.
I haven't. Is it better than Titus World Slide?
It's up for it. Think about trying to hit think about hitting a tope con hilo and not even getting air.
I saw this. It's close.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah,
this was everywhere when it happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Other surprises going on in the Women's Rumble. Chelsea Green was signed.
She got in and out of the ring without breaking her arm. I called a win.
So happy. I'm very happy for her.
And now she's a Karen on Raw.
She's essentially playing Karen, which is great because they already have a crazy woman, and that's Nikki Cross. So this is the next best thing for Chelsea Green, and she's going to kill it.
I also loved when she got eliminated. Corey Graves goes, "I couldn't even make fun of her husband."
Yeah, where was the woo woo guy?
He's probably somewhere lurking in the background.
I would have popped really fucking hard if he showed up at the Rumble.
I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Cardona does return in some way, shape, or form. I actually thought for a second that Lana was going to show up because Lana was TikToking from the Rumble. She was clearly backstage with everybody, but Lana did not show up at the Rumble. But she was chilling back there.
Respectfully, I don't know how many people are clamoring for a Lana return.
I'm clamoring for a Lana return.
I'm not. Wait, can I say something about Matt Cardona real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I took 18 months off of being a podcast from the Labor Day weekend, September of 2021 until tonight.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time I've been on a wrestling podcast.
Welcome back.
A lot of stuff happened. A lot.
Yeah.
The most infuriating thing that happened, Matt Cardona won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
So, sorry, all right, hold on. You're going to tell me that Matt Cardona winning the NWA Championship is more infuriating than the guy who won it after him, Brodus Clay?
That's just sad. I was angry that he won the title.
Okay.
Why were you angry?
Because this is the woo-woo guy. I mean, and granted, he's done a lot of great stuff. He's done a lot of better stuff. But to me, Matt Cardona, and granted, I love the character he's playing. I'm supposed to be infuriated. Trevor Murdoch had just gotten that title. I had followed the Trevor Murdoch beating Nick Aldis storyline so far, and I wanted Trevor Murdoch to go on that monster run. and he didn't because of the woo-woo guy.
Well,
the guy with the
as
weird pants.
as someone that like was born and raised on Long Island, wooing for Matt Cardona feels just as natural as eating a bagel at the beach.
You know it, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, bagels are beach food? That seems weird to me too. From the South, what?
Okay, so like rolling up to the deli to get like a bagel or like an egg sandwich before going to the beach.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Classic. Yeah. You get bagels in the morning, and then if you're going to the beach in the afternoon, you go to the deli to get like a sandwich.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're just gonna have to visit New York again, man. So we're gonna have to take you around.
I'm gonna have to come to New York and get bagels.
Yeah.
Because you know we have bagels down here when we're at the Days Inn and they're on the Continental Breakfast Bar.
Yeah.
We
See,
don't eat bagels.
Yeah.
We eat biscuits.
Yeah. Biscuits are great. Biscuits and gravy, great. I get it. But bagels are an art form here on Long Island.
And in the city too.
Passing thought here in Kentucky.
We will change your mind, sir.
Oh.
All right. I'm down for it.
We will change your mind.
A toasted egg everything bagel with veggie cream cheese. Oh.
Yeah, so egg everything. And have you ever had an egg bagel?
No.
Can you explain an egg bagel, Kay Murphy? It's the best bagel ever.
I'm more partial to the egg everything bagel, but
I mean, I just an egg bagel in and of itself. I love egg bagel too. I love egg everything as well, but just to give a core concept of what an egg bagel is.
How do I describe an egg bagel? Like, it's so like it's not like a plain bagel. Like,
it's a plain bagel with some
coated in egg, coated in egg wash,
coated in egg wash or something like that. So it has a golden look to it.
It's like a beautiful yellow. An egg bagel is a versatile bagel. Goes great with both butter and cream cheese.
Or lox.
Or lox as well. A breakfast sandwich on a blueberry bagel is top tier.
That is. Although I will say,
I've never done that.
Although the ultimate breakfast sandwich is a McGriddle, but that's neither here nor there. Shout out to Dave. Anywho, moving on. Chelsea Green was not the only surprise that happened. We also had the second biggest pop of the night. Kana made her debut. People are like, "Oh, that's Asuka." No, that's not Asuka. That's Kana. Okay, and if the crowd pop didn't tell you what was about to happen, because that's a room full of marks, okay, that lost their shit. The looks on Liv Morgan and Tegan Knox's face sold it. It was almost as if they weren't in the room when Asuka was getting her makeup on. And
maybe they hit her.
I would have hit her.
She could have worn the mask all day long. I pop big.
Listen, Triple H is allowing her to bring the character that got her noticed around the wrestling world, to WWE. And I don't think a regular person who just watches WWE knows what they're in for. Because this is the perfect I'm going to go really nerdy here. This is the perfect personification of the Joker in wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's better than what Danhausen tried to do. Danhausen's more Deadpool. However, Kana is totally Joker chaos at all times, and it doesn't stop at all. And you should be afraid. And I've never heard Corey Graves scream so much for somebody that wasn't Carmella.
No, literally. Also, quick sideberg. Why the fuck wasn't Carmella a return in the fucking Rumble? That was so dumb to bring her back on Raw.
Because they're sacrificing her to Kana. That's why.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great question, but no, I would have popped big for Carmella coming back. But that would be a hat on a hat at that point.
Carmella wouldn't be taking away from fucking Kana.
No, but she is the first sacrifice as showed on Raw. Well, I would have loved Carmella to come back just to see Corey Graves lose his mind as a heel.
As if he didn't know she was in the building.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
I could see Corey Graves popping up from his seat and running from the desk to greet his wife.
And good for him. Good for him.
I think it would have been cute as fuck if Carmelo was in the Rumble, but they didn't tell Corey Graves. That would have been so cute.
That would have been fun. But
You know,
I think
speaking of not
go ahead.
telling somebody about the Rumble, somebody should have mentioned to Michelle McCool. She was on the list.
Speaking of Michelle McCool,
No, literally.
Before we get to Michelle McCool, Piper Niven got her name back.
Niven.
Thank God.
So
Thank
happy.
God.
So happy.
I was so happy. I saw Dewdrop versus Becky last year. Fine. The fire was more impressive. Piper Niven's back, and we're in for some fun now.
And you know what it was? She looked more confident finally.
Oh
Yeah.
She got her name back. She was happy. She was wearing her country's colors as her gear. She was ready to go. Corey Graves said the dew's about to drop as she entered the ring, which was great by Corey Graves.
I think that they never properly said, "Oh, this is Dewdrop." No, they made a bunch of dumb jokes, but we all knew who this was.
Exactly.
Piper Niven's here. That's what's up.
Yeah, very happy for her. She had some physical issues, but I'm so happy she's back because she is sorely needed. That women's division in WWE has just shut up with all the people that they signed or returned. And speaking of which, again, Michelle McCool, this is a brilliant move. One of the most creative Rumble entries ever, because if people forget, right before Bianca and Bliss went at it, Michelle McCool was shown in the crowd
with her daughter.
And that's where she stayed.
Yeah,
that's where she stayed.
And she got up and just like, oh,
Jumped
I
out
guess
of
I
the
got to
crowd.
wrestle now.
Yeah. She wrestled in Ugg boots. Okay? This beautiful woman, took off a jacket, revealed a nice little top that she had, is in sweats and a sports bra, and was giving people the Styles Clash.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Michelle McTaker got in the ring and just just tore the house down. So good.
It's a shame she's not active.
I was gonna. Do you think they could do like one final run for her and then put her in the Hall? She's not in the Hall of Fame, right?
She's not, no.
She's not.
Give her one more run and then put her in the Hall of Fame.
I don't think she wants to.
And that's the thing. She's got that little girl who's what, 10?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be on the road as much as I'd have to be for WWE right now. I've got a almost 9 and 11-year-old.
Yeah.
I get that.
Unless their daughter shows interest, like, Mommy, what were you like when you were wrestling? Maybe she'll do it.
That kind of thinking got us 2 Universal title reigns for Goldberg. No thanks.
I was just gonna say Goldberg came back for his children.
Listen.
She needs to stay away.
Listen.
Goldberg did us a service.
My thing with Michelle McCool is that she was in an okay division. I mean, she had Beth and a couple of other prominent names, but I want to see Michelle McCool with these women right now because she'll dominate all of them, guaranteed. She'll put on some matches for them. It's a matter of if she wants to or not. Like, if she can wrestle in Ugg boots at where she's at right now, just literally coming out of a crowd, she could do anything she wants. It was fantastic. But last but finally not least, the final surprise, which they didn't even finish the countdown for, because
they botched Nia Jax's entrance. It's perfect.
But it's fine. I was so happy for Nia. And yeah, she got eliminated relatively early. However, they made her look like $1 million in a weird wrestling way.
It took 11 women to eliminate Nia Jax. It makes Nia Jax look like a monster. I, in many ways, love Nia Jax. And in many ways, I don't like Nia Jax at all.
I was just going to say, in many ways, I hate Nia Jax.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite WrestleMania women's storylines ever. It was Nia versus Alexa.
That was a beautiful storyline. She's just a horrible face.
Mm-hmm.
She's a horrible face. It could be fun to have her, but she wasn't on Raw. She's not on SmackDown. Was this a one-off, or is she actually back?
It's determined where she'll be probably. Like I thought Chelsea Green was a one-off, but that's not a one-off. I'm I have nothing to confirm this, but I'm pretty certain Nia Jax is officially back.
Huh.
Oh, I don't. I heard she wasn't signed, then it's a one-off.
Well, Taekwon is reporting that Nia Jax has merchandise, so it's
She
not
does,
a
but
one-off.
that doesn't mean anything.
That means something usually. You're not gonna just print out merch for a one night only. It's not like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I don't got KOTR merch.
You should go in our shop, and do that. But I was if this is like a one-off for Nia, if that, so be it, because she didn't deserve to get let go the way she did.
No.
No.
You know, and if she wanted to do this one-time thing just to be like, hey, you know, this is my send-off, that's good. I was hoping in an alternate universe, I was talking with my friend Charles, that I wish they would have had a moment for Sasha and Bailey eliminates Sasha and totally eliminates the Sasha character at the Rumble. Obviously, contractual purposes probably wouldn't allow that, but I was thinking, wow, what a moment that would have been in the Rumble.
Not bringing back Naomi was a fucking huge misstep for me.
A lot of women were wearing neon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know what's happening with Naomi. I don't know if she might be the next heater for the Bloodline. You know, I can also see Nia being that person for the Bloodline. There's also a way where you can incorporate Tamina too.
They need to add all the women to the Bloodline because that would make it so much richer.
You don't need to add all the women. You need to add one woman, and who you choose depends on how that story goes. Because, for instance, let's say you pick Tamina. The reason you bring Tamina in is to keep Roman in check, because Tamina is the oldest of all of them.
That's true.
And she has authority.
I could not figure out a way to get Tamina into this, but that is the way to do it.
Mm-hmm. She can be like
I forgot. I guess she's the oldest one.
She would have authority and say over Roman. So if Tamina would be the only person to keep Roman in line, because by the way of storyline, Tamina's the only person Roman would listen to by way of his culture.
Because she's an elder?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's not bad.
That's why.
It's not bad.
So
all right, that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. Like I said, I hope Nia stays. I think there's a spot for her somewhere. And we'll see where it goes from there. But K Murphy, this is your brutality, and mommy, daddy, whatever pronoun you want to give them, Rhea Ripley won the Royal Rumble. Also, the fourth person ever to go wire to wire at number 1 in the Rumble and win the whole thing. The first woman ever to do it, and she also broke the women's longevity record in the Rumble, beating Bianca Belair.
I would like to point out that I predicted Rhea and Liv as number 1 and number 2. So I was validated.
I would say kudos to Liv Morgan too. I did Liv did a good job.
Liv went wire to wire too. She just lost.
Yeah, by getting misted by Kana.
My only other correct entrant prediction was Lena Vega at 21. Chelsea Green, I was off by 1.
Was so good.
Yeah, she's gonna be really fun in Street Fighter.
I'm not a Street Fighter person. I was like, what the hell is she wearing? And then
I like Street Fighter,
okay.
but it's like hard.
It is hard.
Yes.
Holy shit. I popped so hard for Rhea winning, but I'm like really disappointed in the Charlotte pick.
Yeah, she picked Charlotte, which okay.
I don't get it. I
so
wanted Bianca and Rhea so bad.
So I guess they're trying to capitalize off the fact that like Charlotte won the NXT title at Mania 3 years ago, but like I understand that pandemic Mania counts, but like
it was a good show, just there was no crowd.
Yeah. I feel like we don't need to revisit this at all.
Yeah.
Bianca and Charlotte was such a better story. That way Bianca should drop by Mania. That way she could go after Charlotte, get the SmackDown title, and beat all the horsewomen. That's
where I thought the story was going, especially the way they set it up at Raw 30. But apparently that's not going to happen.
Selfishly, I would have loved to see Rhea challenge Roman because.
Oh my God! You tried to convince me of this the night of or on Monday night. And I was like, no.
Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on. I guess it's possible.
I think they can. I think they can make Rhea be everything China never got to be. I believe wholeheartedly Rhea Ripley is the wrestler to do that.
Maybe. That's a big maybe. Rhea does need to get away from Judgment Day because now we have seen that Rhea has superseded the Judgment Day. But she's still in line with Dominic. My issue with Rhea choosing Charlotte, be it as it may history, it's the easy choice. It's the easy way out for WWE. My issue is that why the hell did Rhea challenge Charlotte on Raw?
Yeah, go to SmackDown.
Go to SmackDown.
Oh yeah, that's stupid.
Because if you look back at when the first time it happened, Rhea was goading Charlotte for a long time. Charlotte showed up at NXT and said, I accept.
Yeah.
You know, Rhea should have done a sneak attack on Charlotte and been like, I challenge you. I would have been more excited for that. You know, the question is, what do you do with Bianca? She's obviously going to face somebody who wins the EC for the women. My big guess would be Kana versus Bianca.
Same.
It makes the most sense.
That's my big guess. That's the best match. Then you go into another story. Does Kana lose twice at a big Manias? We don't know. But we'll see.
I also would have loved to see Kana versus Charlotte at Mania, so she could get revenge for Charlotte.
Lord Almighty, a rematch. Yes.
Better.
Yes. Yes.
I will never get over how mad that match made me.
It didn't make me mad. I was so happy. It was a beautiful match.
That's kind of what I have a problem with Rhea versus Charlotte. I'm not confident Rhea's going to win. It's Charlotte Flair.
I'm not either.
There's a 40% chance that Charlotte's just going to win. And the match, I'm not worried about the quality of the match. I'm worried about the quality of the storyline and the sense that it makes. Because if you think back to Rhea wins the Raw title, Bianca wins the SmackDown title, Raquel wins the NXT title, they have that moment where the three of them are together. Bianca and Rhea have got this history. And now you can build off that to this, battle of longtime friends who now want the same belt. That's great. Do that. I understand I lost to Charlotte Flair. I have to get that win back. I understand that. It's just not as good as a story.
And it's also the thing, too, there's more history. I think there's more direct history with Rhea and Bianca, because who did Bianca eliminate to go to WrestleMania?
Rhea, right?
She beat Rhea. They were the final two. And at that time, Bianca had the record for longest woman in a Rumble. Rhea just beat that.
Yeah, it all points to Bianca.
Yeah.
But no, Charlotte, it's always Charlotte.
It's safe, but I think, like we said, if we were to switch the opponents, this is assuming Connor's going to win the Elimination Chamber, which we'll talk about in 2 weeks. I would have loved Kana versus Charlotte, and Rhea versus Bianca. Rhea comes out, declares against Bianca, cool, fine. Then you switch it up, and Kana versus Charlotte. 2 in Hollywood at Prince money. At Prince a lot of money right there. But we'll see how this goes. Although, like Mance said, I'm not confident in the way the storyline's going to be built, but we'll see what happens. On to the last thing we'll talk about for the Rumble. The Pitch Black match wasn't the best. Wasn't the worst.
Interesting.
It was fine.
Aesthetically, pretty interesting.
It looks cool.
Yeah. Also very interesting that we never gave Naomi something like this.
No, it's literally
like a Feel the Glow match. Yeah. Or something. But it's a match. It happened. Okay.
It was super quick, very pretty. It what it needed to do. That was it.
We also do know that Uncle Howdy cannot hit an elbow drop from that high up.
Oh no, that was bad.
he missed by 10 to 12 feet.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Whoever you are, Uncle Howdy, if you believe. Moving on.
Oh, I believe.
I do have one more thing about
B
about
team, go, go, go.
about the pitch black. It gives me hope. It does give me hope that in the future we're gonna get the Mountain Dew Code Red Hell in the Cell match, the Mountain Dew Sweet Lightning Electrified Steel
stop it.
Cage match, and the Mountain Dew Baja Blast Exploding Barbed Wire match. I instead of watching this match, I looked up types of Mountain Dew to make up matches for.
Money in the Baja Blast.
Yeah.
Money in
There
the
you go.
Baja Blast match. Nice. I will say, if Cody's after show pressure was anything to go by, I need to try Pitch Black because apparently it tastes really good.
What
Or
are the
Cody's
favorite-
a fantastic actor.
Well, he said he hadn't had sugar
don't-
in 3 months, so.
Yeah.
What's the flavor
It's a
profile
it's
on
a
this Mountain
grape
Dew?
Mountain Dew.
Bye.
Mr.
Nope.
Fred said
Want
it's
that.
grape soda.
Ugh.
Don't you
So-
add grape soda? Okay.
I hate it.
You wow. I'm gonna revoke your invitation to the cookout. Anywho,
That's not nice.
you're not liking grape soda isn't nice either. Anywho, NXT Vengeance
I
Day.
like orange soda.
Who doesn't love orange soda? NXT.
I'm sure there's someone.
Probably. NXT is going on the road for the first time in almost a year. They're going with their Vengeance Day premium live event live from Charlotte, North Carolina. And on the card, we're going to go through this really quickly because we are running a little bit long in the tooth. Obviously, the NXT Championship, everybody's favorite Steiner named Braun Breaker, is going against everybody's most hated Australian, Grayson Waller, in a steel cage match. Up next, Cora Jade, the NXT Women's Champion, is facing the 2 remaining members of the faction formerly run by Mandy Rose, Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan, aka Priscilla Kelly, and JC Jane are going to be challenging Roxanne Perez in essentially a triple threat match, a little handicap style, who knows? We'll see what goes with that. The match is probably going to technically steal the show. Apollo Crews versus Carmelo Hayes, the next big thing in WWE, I will say that, in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Up next in the card, Wesley, former member of the Rascals and the only one remaining that's still actually wrestling and legitimate, versus Dominic Dijakovic, or just Dijak now, for the North
He
American.
looks so different.
He's like a giant Punisher guy, and his hair's black. Versus Dominic Dijakovic, or Dijak North American Championship. We also have a fatal 4-way for the NXT Tag Team Championships. NXT Tag Team Champions, Mance, The New Day.
Okay.
Versus the poor person's Breezango, aka Pretty Deadly, versus Chase U, versus the Thick Boys from NXT UK, Gallus. And then last but not least, we also have the NXT Women's Championship. 2 of my favorite boos in NXT. My former classmate, Casey Catanzaro, also known as Katana Chance, versus Kaden Carter, Team Ninja, Team Ninja as they used to call themselves, versus Fallon Henley and Kiana James for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship. So, before we go into rating how we think this event will be, because it is happening this Saturday on Peacock, or as Pat McAfee says, The Cock.
The cock.
Yes. Mr. Chappell, Mr. Mance Chappell, what are your thoughts on this NXT card?
It's not bad. There's a lot of good stuff here. I think every men's title is going to change hands. Every one of them.
Ooh.
Because I believe Wesley and Braun Breaker are ready to go to the main roster. The New Day is just here for a little layover. And if you're asking me personally, I think Pretty Deadly's taking the belts back. I want Gallus to take them.
Everybody wants Gallus to take it.
And you can call her Kaden Carter all you want. That is Lacey Lane. That is my nemesis from the Mae Young Classic. I have not forgiven her.
Wait, hold on. I'm missing something. What did Lacey Lane do to
you?
you?
Go all the way back to the Mae Young Classic. Lacey Lane, like God's my witness, I can't remember who she eliminated, but there was a much more. And I had to look it up. Maybe I will look it up as y'all talk about the next thing. She made an eliminate. She won a match that she should not have won, and I got very afraid she was going to beat Mako Satomura in the next match, and I lost my mind on Lacey Lane on an episode of the Gift Podcast. And every time she pops up, my brain goes, "That's Lacey Lane," and but she's gonna retain her title at the thing. But no, it's been 3 years, 4 years. No, it's still there.
Wow, that's right. K Murphy, what are your thoughts on this NXT Vengeance Day card?
I think it'll be fine. I don't know anything about half these people on NXT anymore.
You should.
I agree with
It's
Mance
entertaining stuff.
Maybe I'll try watching NXT again. I just have not had the time or the interest in NXT, but I'll give it maybe like an 8 because I don't know anything about NXT, so I can't like fairly judge.
Yeah.
I also agree that I think Braun Breaker's coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
New Day's dropping. Don't know anything about I don't know anything about NXT anymore. I feel so weird crowning it, but I'll give it an 8 just out of an assumption.
Yeah. What would you crown this, Mr. Chappell, Mr. Mance?
Out of 10?
Yeah, out of 10. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst.
7.5.
Okay.
It's passing.
Yeah.
It's not bad. She eliminated Ty Conti from the Mae Young Classic.
Well, I mean, I think that worked out the best for everybody.
That's true. But still.
Again, I think that worked out the best for everybody. For me, I'm going to give this... Oh, sorry, Will's not invited to the cookout. I will give this... I'm going to set the bar low because I don't know how that crowd's going to be. I know tickets are always cheap for NXT, which is a great thing if I was in the Charlotte area. But I don't know how we're going to be. I don't know how we're going to react. They usually put on good shows when they're outside of the Performance Center or the Capitol Wrestling Center, whichever you want to call it. But I just have some concerns that all these matches will hit or not. So I'm going to go to 7. I'm setting the bar low for this. I'm still going to watch because I have no life, but I'm going to set it at 7. Yeah, 7 of that. So that concludes our show. That is the end of our show right now. And Mance, thank you for coming in. I don't want to bring you out of retirement often, but you are welcome back anytime you want.
I'm around. You see Bill Goldberg, give me a call. I'll come say things. No, I enjoy doing this. I don't enjoy the time crunch I have now to make it. So I'm always happy to be around. You need a third face. Let me know. I'm happy to be here.
Sure, good. And this is the bittersweet last full-time show of the K Murphy. So K Murphy, is there anything that you want everybody to know one final time?
Like plugging my socials and all that?
No. Just I'm giving you the chance to speak. I'm just giving you the chance to speak freely.
Well, the last 4 years on KOTR have been a blast, and I've definitely done and experienced things I never in a million years thought I would. And I'm bummed that I won't be here every Wednesday, but I'll be here whenever the fuck I want. CM Punk comes back, you bet your ass I'll be here. Jeff Hardy comes back, or something happens to Jeff Hardy, you bet I'll be here. Special events, I'll be here.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to thank everybody that like has hung around for such a long time. And yeah, that's really it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to post.
Well, before we do that, Kay, I do have some nice words for you as well. You have been a member of the Valkyrie from years past, and you have been a great person to share a friendship with. You have been an amazing person to learn from. I think you have taught myself, and I can only speak for myself, but I think you've taught myself, and you taught Will, and I think you teach anybody, whoever comes into contact with you, so many things about life and how to be a great person in general. And I can say about all of our lives, especially mine, are better now that we have met you and that we've had you in it for such a long time. You have become a close confidant of mine where I confide in you with a lot of stuff about myself personally and professionally, and I do appreciate all the time that you take out to speak with me whenever I need it. And, you know, recently I've needed it a lot more. But I do appreciate it. You have been one of the most epic things about this podcast, and the reason that it keeps going, and the reason that a lot of people tune in, and the reason that people buy probably your merch more so than anybody else's merchandise, You know,
That's wild.
it's true. You have friends in the Vaz family that bought like 18 of your sweatshirts. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you are going to be sorely, sorely missed. It's going to be different without you on a week-to-week basis. But I know whenever I need you or whenever everybody else needs you, you'll be there to help out the people that are close to you. So I just want to say thank you for these last couple of years and being such a great influence, a positive influence, and a mentor for wrestling and advocacy and all the other great things that you do, because everybody is better off after they have met you.
Thank you. That was very sweet. To Kwan's comments, I would like to point out. Saquon says Ricky is so kind to his long-term friend, and this is a graceful farewell. Me, on the other hand, fuck you, Kay. You traitor's bitch. Don't you ever show your face around here again. Oh,
and on that note, folks, let's cue an outro that I'll put up in post, and let's get out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kings of the Rings podcast, or this has been Kings of the Rings podcast, episode number 326, The Passion of the Ucey, and it is a passionate yet bittersweet ending to Kay Murphy's full-time reign, but we do know that their passion and their love will always remain as a part of this podcast, especially when they return. I have been your host, King Ricky Rose. You can formerly find me at Ambassador Biggs across all social media, because I am not there for the indefinite and immediate future. Find Kings of the Rings podcast at KOTR_podcast on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, across all social media. Like, share, subscribe. Leave us some 5-star reviews. And if you're listening to us, please listen to us on Wrestle Addict Radio, the cure for the common wrestling podcast. I know you remember that one, Mance. And follow Wrestle Addict Radio, social at addict_wrestle on Twitter, and Wrestle Addict Radio everywhere else. The Friends of the Show era response has been pretty big. I will be getting back to everybody and scheduling times when we bring in more guests on a week-to-week basis. I don't know who we're doing next week, but we will definitely, I'll definitely get back to you when we figure out who's going to be where. But until then, folks, let's go over to Mance Chapel. Any final words, Mance?
I am, of course, and forever will be the Monday Night Delight, Mance Chapel. You can find me on Twitter at MN_Delight. You can find me on TikTok at MN_Delight. I do weird shit there. It's sometimes funny. I'm always around. I'm always on the Twitter. I'll make comments from time to time. And if I'm ever needed for anything, you know where to find me. Kay, my dear, I love you. We talk 3-4 times a week. My oldest child wants to meet you desperately. And you were great here. You were great as my co-host, and you're going to do great things. I can't wait to see.
Yeah. Kay Murphy, one final time.
y'all are killing me. As we know, I hate doing closings more than anything else. So for the last time in a while, you can find me across all social media platforms at the K Murphy, TheKae Murphy. You can find my bearded dragon, Frank Tortellini, at Frank Tortellini on Instagram.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
And how could you forget about Franklin?
So I'm not on Instagram right now.
He's the best. I don't care. How do you forget about Franklin?
Continue, Kay.
He has the cutest face anyone's ever
Continue,
seen.
Kay.
You can follow my graphic design store at Euphoric Future Designs on Instagram and on Spring. And I'll see y'all when I see y'all.
Yeah. So when we come back next week, brand new guest host, hopefully. Maybe Will's back from his exile of internet, or maybe I just have someone that you've never seen before on this show, or maybe I'll bring back a queen. So until then, folks, goodbye, good night. Kay Murphy, we love you so much.
I love y'all so much.
And I'll
Thank
give
y'all
you
for being
this ender for me. Say it, because I know you won't be saying it in a while on the show. Can you please?
All right, y'all. 4 words. Click, clack, fuck, slack. Good night, everyone.
Good night, folks.
Right.
This has been a Wrestle Addict Radio branded podcast.